Pelicans lose 122-105 to the Orlando Magic. Zion Williamson, Brandon Ingram, and CJ McCollum finally played together. We're going to talk about it right now. Joined with Chaz, 5, Ross, and Chris Connor. Chris, we're going to start with you right off the bat. Thoughts on Zion Williamson?
He's clearly going to have to play himself into better game shape. I thought very, very similar to the start of last season. Just, he missed some layups, missed some shots early that he'll make later on. Some, you can tell that the, his vertical lift off the ground isn't what it will be, if he's healthy a month from now, whatever the case may be. And but most importantly, I thought Zion at the 5 minutes were incredible for this team. And in a lot of ways, not just in regards to Zion, but to pretty much anybody that was on the floor and some of the players that the coaching staff decided to put on the floor in those looks.
Yep. Jarrett, first possession. I wanted to bring this up to you. Jarrett, first possession. Herb Jones brought the ball up. We had talked about having Herb at the 1. And Chaz, actually, before we got on the show, said, we went away from that. But what did you see, I guess, from the starting 5 that you liked and that you didn't like?
Let's just say, the emphasis on shooting corner threes was a key. I think Herb looked amazing. His ability to shoot the ball in the corner, he seems like he's working on that and has worked on that. He looks more comfortable. There's an emphasis on his elbow, right? If he had to tuck the correct way, then it's a higher percentage. I think him and Fred Vincent have probably done a really good job on that. The offense, I like the tweaks. I can see where the potential is. It's just, time for them to gel. And I think that's why the preseason is so pivotal for this team. They need time together.
Yeah. Chaz, it's funny. Zion played 15 minutes tonight, had 5 rebounds and 5 assists. What did you see from him that you liked? And I kind of agree with Chris. I don't think he's still in game shape yet, but still, though, he's still productive.
Yeah, I think to Chris's point, I think you saw a lot of this with Zion last season, and even in the Stan Van Gundy season. I think Zion is really, aside from that rookie year, Zion is really like a slow starter. He's not a guy who can go too long without playing basketball because he just tends to start slow. But I will say, I saw him snap out of it a lot faster than I saw last season. So I guess those couple months he played this season, did kind of it wasn't as steep of a learning curve. I saw him snap out of it early on. His lateral quickness wasn't really there defensively, but in the second half, you kind of saw it there. Had some really good defensive rebounds too. I think Zion, the dude he's such a talent that he's another person who, if you he's a triple-double threat every single night. And before you even know it, you're like, damn, this dude got 10, 10, and 10. He's just that talented.
And to Chaz's point, Ross, so if Zion plays his regular minutes of 30, 35 minutes a night, he's going to average a triple-double. Is it actually possible for this guy, Zion Williamson, to average a triple-double this year? You look at his stat line. He plays 15 minutes, 4 of 8 from the field, 5 rebounds, 5 assists, 12 points. And he got to the free throw line 6 times in 15 minutes.
No, I don't think it's possible. I thought he looked great, but I don't know if there's enough of an emphasis on rebounding for him to get 10 a night. Just to answer your question, I think he could easily get the points and assists if he's going to get the points effortlessly. We all know what kind of playmaker he is. I would like to see, really from the whole team, Brandon included. That was kind of one of my things tonight. Obviously, JV got a bunch of rebounds like he always does, but going from last year to this year, just that emphasis on team rebounding. And I think Zion can do more in that regard. And I think that's the one thing that probably would hold him back from being a consistent triple-double guy, at least as we sit here today.
Yeah. Chris, what were your thoughts on Brandon? Because I thought personally, from my standpoint, I thought Brandon actually brought it on both ends of the floor tonight, offensively and defensively. What are your pause, maybe a little bit.
What's
What
the
are your
question?
thoughts?
Go ahead.
What are your thoughts on Brandon?
Mixed bag.
Mixed bag, really?
Yeah. Well, because here's why. Because at this point, I only judge Brandon with how well he plays with Zion. Like I'm not, and they still, until that looks fluid, it's hard for me. Like I know a turnaround jumper 70% of the time is going, and I know when he gets to his spots. Like I'm not concerned about the rust elements. I'm concerned about the timing, right? He tried multiple lobs or outlet passes to Zion, up the floor. That timing, which resulted in a couple of turnovers. I think defensively, there was some bright spots there, and I also liked how active he was and how he was used a little bit more off ball. I saw him cutting a lot. I think shout out to Coach Cyprian, who said, I haven't seen Brandon cut this much off ball willingly. And even if he didn't get the ball in all of them, and there was a couple of them that he probably should have, it's still, it was positive to see that versus him just standing around. But it's still a mixed bag, I think, in a lot of ways. I'm just, it's a C until I see it all pop together with him and Zion, because that's the only way it's really gonna matter.
Yeah. Jared, I'm gonna throw a stat at you. I want to hear your actual thought on this, but 8 of 34 from deep tonight. Love the attempts, but the makes.
No. I mean, they were 8 of 17. Yeah, 8 of 17 at 8 of. Yeah, I think that's it. They were on pace. No, maybe been 8 of 19 at half, shooting 36% from 3. So I think that's where you want to live, and that's with the starting unit. I mean, the second unit couldn't get up a good quality shot. I kind of expect that. But if the continuousness of the first unit transitions to the second, you kind of see where you live, right? I don't expect them to shoot 43 tonight. Is that in theory? Is that going to be great? Like, I don't know, but they need to shoot corner threes when they're open. They need to move the ball. I think there was a point of emphasis on shooting those corner threes, having CJ in the corner, and then when you get Trey Murphy back, though that number ticks up. So and then you're going to get more quality shots with Zion, Brandon, and even Jonas in the low post and in the mid range.
Chaz, you mentioned that you don't think Zion, Brandon, and Jonas can really work together. Can you kind of elaborate a little bit on that and why you think so?
I think when you look at Zion's minutes at the 5, if I'm not mistaken, I think the majority of those minutes came without Brandon on the floor. Mm-hmm. And I think even when you look at when Brandon initially was in the staggered unit, and it was just him and like the second unit, you saw the pace increase. You saw a little more fluidity. You saw a little more like it was sloppy, but there was a little more like effort there. I think with Brandon, I'm a big proponent of point BI, but watching it, and there's only one preseason game. I already know how I would disrupt that. Like I already know how I would totally just I'm shutting that down easily. And it's so easy to disrupt that you're like, I don't know if it's gonna work. With JV, he's just, he's a big lumbering guy. And for as great as he is rebounding, he provides some spacing issues. And also with the pace, with point BI being such a slow offense as it currently stands. And if I'm a coach, I'm slowing it down even more because I'm putting Matthew Dellavedova, Jose Alvarado type, one of them dudes down there. And by the time you cross the half court, you're going to be racing against the clock. So you're going to have to find ways to manufacture points in transition. That means Zion and Trey, whenever he gets back, leaking out. So you're not going to have anybody really helping on the boards, like talking about it, right? Maybe BI stands back there and he helps on the boards. Maybe Herb, but Herb is so good in transition, you kind of probably want him leaking out too. So you're going to have JV, maybe CJ, and Brandon probably on the boards. And it's like, I don't really know. So I don't know about, I would say it can't work, but I'm concerned about it just knowing how easy it would be to shut it down.
No, that's fair. Ross, one guy we haven't talked about yet is CJ McCollum. Me and Jared have talked about this on the side, but I think his range has gotten better. I think even he hit a deep three tonight. Like that was not even close to towing the line. That kind of space is going to help out with Xander and Brandon. But what did you see, Ross, from CJ McCollum tonight? Because personally, I like the way he was kind of off ball and the shots he took. I never had one single problem with one shot he took tonight.
Yeah, that was, I think the two things that stood out to me, and I guess they kind of go hand in hand, is that he was off the ball more, and you really didn't see him over dribbling, which at times CJ can be a little prone to. I mean, I don't know if that's a point of emphasis at this juncture, or if it's just kind of the way things played out tonight. But those two things stood out to me. And when you see CJ not over dribbling like that, he still demands a little bit of attention, because traditionally he's a really, really good 3-point shooter. And with that group, he should get a lot of good looks. And I think having him as a true secondary playmaker, as somebody initiating the offense, makes him a lot more dangerous.
Chris, can we talk about Herb Jones? Because a lot of people all off season. I feel like you're the perfect guy to talk about Herb Jones. A lot of people, you can't shoot the three, you should be starting all this. Well, tonight, Herb Jones 4-7 from the field, 2 of 3 from deep, 5 rebounds, 0 assists, but 11 points in 16 minutes. Where were you? I would love to hear you and Five's thoughts on Herb Jones.
He was the best Pelican on the floor tonight.
Easy.
Yeah. He was the best Pelican on the floor tonight. He was, I don't know if it's fair to say he was the most in shape, but he's ready to play regular season basketball today. Imagine that. Like, he's ready right now to go out there and play 30, 40 minutes. Five mentioned the elbow. You can see in the videos that you posted, the videos that you posted as well, Justin. The shot's a little different in the way that the elbow is, and I even tweeted, like, you can tell a lot about where Herb is at, where his jumper, by where his elbow is. It's a lot smoother of a release. He picked his spots. We saw him finish. We saw him finish at the basket. We saw him defend. We saw him block. We saw him run the offense. He did a little bit of everything. And yo, man, I mean, to me, I think the best overall Pelican of the night. And it's good to see, for all the talk about his jumper and the concerns that we all have, it be some tweaks, some work there to start off. You can kind of see it play out right away visually. But I don't think there wasn't one play I can really think of to where I was like, I didn't like that, Herb. I think he was spectacular.
Jared, go ahead.
I was just thinking about something. You know what, Herb? If I'm Herb, I'm asking Willie Green to give me the ball. Like, let me be the point guard. And this person that pops in my mind, it was Gary Payton. And I know, all right, Herb ain't that. Like, I get that. But there's shades there. Like, he's not going to be the passer. But the ability to, I can handle the ball. I can control my own. I can play off other superstars, and I can hit corner threes. Like, and then I'm going to guard the best player. I'm going to guard the best player every night and help this defense. And I think that's the progression for Herb. Like, defense is such a communicative, like, thing. Like, he has to be more vocal. Like, he has to. Like, for this team to be really successful, I know last year they were 6th in defensive rating. But if he really wants to be the guy, like, he has to be more vocal. And it goes back to our conversation yesterday, Chris, about leadership, right? Like, this is where the progression is for Herb. So if it's him, it's like, no, look, you take that responsibility. That way, Brandon doesn't have to have the ball in his hands. He doesn't have to. He's not forced to, dribble against TJ McConnell. Like, you don't really want that. Chaz even said this. He was talking about, like, Trey and Zion leaking out. I really hate that idea. Like, I hate it. I hate when anybody, especially on a team that rebounds terribly, like, you can't leak out. The guy that's 6'10" and the guy that's 6'6" that's super athletic, y'all definitely can't leak out. And I think Zion is better when he rebounds and goes, and Brandon's better when he rebounds and goes, rather than just giving it up to a point guard. So in that sense, like, if it's a out of bounds play, let Herb take it up. Let pause. I let Herb, get the ball up the court. If it's a rebound and go, anybody take it. Because that way you don't have to slow down. And I think CJ being off ball, Brandon being off ball, Zion being off ball, only at times where they don't rebound the ball makes the most sense. So
no, that's well said. Chaz, what did then we'll hear Ross. Chaz, what did you take from Herb tonight? Because I agree with both of them. I thought he was the best player on the floor.
I thought Herb was really solid. I think Herb, he's always like unheralded guy because you never really expect much bad from Herb. And it's almost to the point where it's just like, for a while, Anthony Davis was like that. Like Anthony Davis would have like 20 points and 15 rebounds and 6 blocks. You'd be like, Anthony Davis had a cool game because he's so like effective. You just like, oh yeah, this is what he does. And I think that's how I felt about Herb's performance tonight. Like I expected him to have a solid, good game. I thought Herb did his thing. I really, particularly that block he had stood out to me the most. I thought that was a really, really nice play. And man, it might to File's point, it might kind of buck the system a bit as for what they wanted to do going into this season. But I view things two ways. I view things that can get better, and I view things that kind of just are the way they are. Like Zion isn't going to grow to be 7 feet tall, and Brandon isn't going to get especially faster or like a super incredible handle overnight. So I think Herb initiating it, him being the more low usage guy who doesn't need to score, I think that's the best thing.
And this goes without saying, but Herb was a point guard at Alabama for 4 years. Like he knows how to play the position. Like he is a point guard. Ross, what did you see from Herb?
Yeah, I mean, I did the same stuff you guys saw. I think Chad just really said it. Like my expectations from Herb are like so high. I don't want to say so high in the sense that I expect him to do something outside of his skill set, but like he's just really consistent in terms of his effort, in terms of the way he's going to play. And so, I mean, like, was it a huge surprise to me that he rolled out of bed for the first preseason game and like showed up ready to bring it? Nah, not really. I mean, he kind of did what I expected him to do. And I think part of that is, and I mean, I don't know, I've never talked to the guy, but I think there's probably a little something telling him, hey, with Trey going to be out possibly to start the season or whatever. I think he knows that that's probably a little more on his plate than some of the other people. So, I mean, maybe he's got a chip on his shoulder to make sure, people understand how valuable he is to this team.
Chris, let's hear your biggest disappointment of the night. Then we'll go 5. Chaz and Ross will close this out. Biggest disappointment.
I mean, we'll outside of number 56. That was hard visually to watch.
Couldn't help himself. He couldn't help himself.
That was hard visually to watch. I hope
Jemison I think it's Jemison.
Trey. I hope that brother has a long career, whether it be overseas or he finds a way. But man, Najee Marshall. And I don't know if it's 100% Najee's fault. I think, I mean, I'm not the only one here, but I have, really, really high expectations on what he can bring in the kind of season that he can have. And I think he will have, he will be crucial to this team, especially to start with the amount of players that are missing. But yeah, man, he just, I don't know, man. He bounced the ball off his foot a few times, right? Had a few turnovers, had a few air balls, went 0 for 5. One shot hit the opposite side of the backboard. It was, it was a weird looking floater out of no. He looked a little bit like out of rhythm, and as opposed to when he was with I think in the earlier part of the game when he was with some of the starters. Defensively, he was, I think, pretty good. There was some plays, some secondary plays. I think he was missed where he could have had another, some easier jumpers that he ended up taking. So preseason is weird because some of these guys get matched up with players that they'll never end up playing with once the season starts. But I personally wanted Najee to come out and have a really good performance game one. So that's my biggest disappointment.
It's funny. I agree with you, Chris, but he led the entire game in steals with 3. But I know he didn't do it offensively tonight, but defensively he still kind of brings it. But no, I agree with you. 5. Who biggest disappointment?
I'm not gonna say Najee because Chris already said it for the exact same reason. I think I'll go step down. I thought I don't know. I thought Dyson would be better.
Hmm.
I don't know. I thought that was an area for him to really like, yo, all right, you cool. You came off the summer league. I don't know if he would, in my opinion, I don't think he was like that impressive. Thought this was like an opportunity for him to like, okay, cool. Let me take this step. Like I worked my ass off. I didn't have the showing in FIBA that I would have liked. Cool. Let me transition this. Let me take it up a notch. And I don't think he took advantage of it. I don't know. I just always get this feeling like the younger guys don't take advantage of like the opportunity. It's almost like, I'm good. Like I'll get another shot at it. Will you though? Will you? Like you just going through the motions? Like it could end tomorrow. Like it can all be over. You can get an injury. God willing, that doesn't happen. But it's just like the laxness of it. Like the just going through the motions. So I thought Dyson could have had a better performance than he showed.
Chaz, go ahead.
I was really disappointed with the starting unit, and again, I'm a person. I had really high hopes for like the point BI thing. Like I wanted to see like a Ben Simmons, a version of a Ben Simmons, Joel Embiid type thing, but I just don't see it happening. Like the pace just doesn't make sense to me. I thought it was a lot of like fumbling. It was a struggle to get into the sets, and a lot of times you saw. I think you saw BI. It's going to take some time to break bad habits and learn a new thing. I thought you saw BI fall into some of his old habits sometimes, like pulling up for a tough mid-range shot, one, dribble, bad shot, one pass in the offense, and it was just, I didn't really like that. I didn't like the two-man game. Him and Zion were trying to run with Zion's in the post, and he just give to Zion, and Zion just figure it out. It's Zion. He's going to figure it out, but still, I don't like that shit. Versus how it looked when only one of them were on the floor. It looked a lot smoother. And I'm gonna say this wasn't really disappointing to me, but I want Kyra to stop looking over his shoulder. Like I don't know what they telling Kyra when he go out there, but bro, you got it. You could do it, bro. Just I wouldn't pass the ball at all. You know how they got that stat. That's like missed assists or something. I wouldn't have no missed assist opportunities. Everything would be an attempted shot. Like Kyra had great English off the glass tonight. I think he had a couple nice finishes with the left hand, big three off the glass. Man, don't pass the ball at all. Kyra, just go, bro. Just go.
Yeah, Ross, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just gonna bundle it all to like the second unit, and I mean, I don't know how many of those guys are really going to be playing on a night-to-night basis, or even going to be expected to play. But I just didn't see a lot I liked. I think Five said it. It didn't really feel like anybody said, "Hey, this is my time. Like this is my chance. Let me show you what I can do." I mean, and it's tough to be too critical. EJ's first game and however long. Didn't see a lot I liked there. He looked uncomfortable. I think we're just, and I think it's going to take some time to find like the right role for some of those role players. Because like, what is Dyson still? Because I actually thought there were times tonight where he looked okay. Like I thought his handle looked slightly improved. But it's still like, what is his role? Like what are we going to be asking him to do on a night basis? I didn't get a good feel for what that might be tonight. Same with EJ, even to a certain extent. The same with Kyra. It seemed disjointed. I mean, the second half of that game smelled a lot like a summer league game to me, a G League game. I just didn't see much. It just felt like dudes out there playing. Some of that's no Jose, some of that's no Larry. I get all that, but would have liked to have just seen something that resembled an NBA basketball game out of that second unit.
We're going to close up with this. Chris, I'll start with you. Because I actually was kind of impressed with him. But Dereon Seabron tonight, 5 of 8 from the field, 5 rebounds and assists, 13 points. I think he looks kind of good. Like I know it was kind of like a G League thing, but at the end of the game, but I feel like he has a chance.
he has a motor that you wish other guards had on the team.
Like he was the one guy that I was like, he kind of seized the moment tonight. Like he wanted to be there.
It's just so many individuals in front of him because everything that Chaz mentioned about Kyra and 5 mentioned about Dyson, Seabron is the complete opposite. It doesn't matter what setting it is. Summer League, NBA game, G League, preseason, he's the same. Whether and you know the ball is going up like one way or another, and you know he's getting to the rim. I don't know if anyone has the fortitude to make certain decisions to find a way for someone like that and say he's an NBA player, he's going to be an NBA player on our team. But there's only so many times you can see him go to the rim consistently in these formats without thinking, all right, well, these other dudes ain't doing it. These other dudes ain't seizing the moment. At least I know he ain't scared of it.
He looked the way I wanted Kyra to look. Like that was my one takeaway from the second unit was exactly that.
Yeah.
Like he plays the way I wish Kyra Lewis played.
He looks like De'Aaron Fox. Like if he gets a midi, it's curtains. Like you want that. He's the guard that you actually need.
I was about to say, how do you leave this guy off the roster? I'm serious. The guy attacks the rim. He's long. He can defend. He can play multiple positions. My
bad. Like this is like the NBA archetype for a point guard, right? Like
like can he shoot?
Long.
Like no, but 6'5", 180. Like he can play.
Even with a healthy Jose and a healthy Larry, like who in that second unit can microwave score? Like who in that second unit can get a look for themselves? Like
Chaz, what you see from him? I can't believe we're talking about Dereon Seabron, but like he keeps putting up numbers.
Yeah, I was a fan of Seabron when he was drafted. Personally, I mean, for me, I feel like when you see a person with super athleticism like that in today's game, where it's totally catered towards guys who can get to the rim and stuff like that, man. Even if healthy, a couple of these dudes, man, I don't know. They would spend a lot of time in Birmingham, and one of them for sure was picked 8. He spent a lot of time in Birmingham.
Chris, you knew it was coming.
Just because I'm just thinking, like, man, EJ. He just looked. I think he's going to struggle against length. Pause. I think he's going to struggle against length, and I think. A guy like Seabron and Kyra, once Kyra gets over the hiccups of looking over his shoulder, those dudes, they have just that great equalizer. Even if they're not as skilled, their athleticism is like the great equalizer. You can get to the rim at will, you can finish. So for this bench, I'll just throw it out there. You got nothing to lose. Just throw them dudes out there, man. You got nothing to lose.
Over the summer league, and we've all watched it, like one thing about Seabron is when he creates contact, he gets to the free throw line, he fills up a box score. Once again, 5 rebounds, and assists, 13 points, gets to the free throw line 8 times.
Listen,
like he might have been first besides Zion. Looking at the stats, actually, no, I lied. He was first in free throw attempts tonight.
Oh wow!
On the team in 16 minutes.
If you look at the summer league game, there was like this one game where he didn't come out with like the energy that I thought he would exude.
It was the first game.
And then after that, it was fuck it. I'm trying to get to the rim at all costs. Like, cool. Like, at least you know what you're gonna get out of a guy like that, right? Like, not the timidness, not the unsure. Like, cool. If he's like, I'm cool with that. Like, if he's wrong, at least go be 100% wrong at it. Like, don't half step it. Don't be caught in the middle. Don't be looking back. Like, Seabron, like, hey, this is I'm playing with house money at this point. Like, I'm here, so either it's gonna work or it's not.
He had more rebounds than Dyson, more free throw attempts than Dyson, more field goal attempts than Dyson. Did he have more points than Dyson?
Well,
More
Be the
points than
name of the
Dyson.
episode.
well,
Ben
Dyson,
Sorry.
Dyson
Yes.
is a front court player, so it's not fair to compare those two.
I see.
Like, comment, and subscribe. Pelicans 0-1. We are so back. Let's hear from our sponsors at DraftKings. NBA fans, the wait is over. Basketball's back, and DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA, is celebrating with an unbeatable offer. New customers can score $200 instantly in bonus bets for throwing down $5 on the NBA. Win or lose, it doesn't matter. You'll start the season with an instant dub. Basketball's more fun when you're in on the action. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use code BOOT. New customers can get $200 in bonus bets instantly for betting just $5. Only on DraftKings Sportsbook with code BOOT. The crown is yours. Solid read there, Chris Connor. Chaz 5, Chris and Ross. We're so back. Pelicans are 0-1. What'd you call me? I'm the tax collector. Is that what your nickname was for me? Is that right?
Bill collector.
Bill collector. Thank you. Like, comment, subscribe. We'll talk to you later.